My husband Jason asked me to just be patient. I agreed and lost myself. "Just hang in there a little longer," Jason said without looking up from his plate. "It's not forever." He said it calmly, almost gently, the way people speak to children when something is unpleasant but necessary. I stood at the stove slowly stirring buckwheat that had burned again because I'd gotten distracted. The kitchen smelled faintly smoky. I didn't even react anymore. I was wearing an old t-shirt. It used to be one of his dress shirts. I had cut it, re-sewn it, turned it into something softer so I wouldn't have to spend money on new clothes. Back then, I didn't realize that this word, patient, was quietly becoming my second name. "Okay," I said, "I'll be patient." At the time, it sounded temporary, harmless even. I had no idea how dangerous that word could be. 5 years earlier, my life had looked completely different. I had a career I loved, my own steady income, mornings filled with purpose. I wore fitted dresses and walked into meetings knowing my voice mattered. I wasn't afraid to disagree. I wasn't afraid to say no. Most importantly, I felt visible. Then Jason was offered a promotion in another city. "Just a couple of years," he promised. "We'll move back once I gain the experience. It's for our future, for our family." I believed him without hesitation. I quit my job so easily that my coworkers were shocked. But I was proud of us, proud of being the kind of wife who supports her husband's growth. We sold my car, moved into a smaller apartment to be smart with money. I found remote work, though calling it a career would have been generous. It barely covered groceries. Still, I told myself this was what partnership looked like, so I adjusted. Then our daughter Lily was born, tiny, warm, perfect. My world shifted overnight, and somehow it felt natural for my needs to slide even further down the list. After that came the quiet conversations about budgeting. "Do you really need that?" "Let's wait a little. Maybe next month." Without noticing when it started, I stopped buying things for myself altogether. New clothes could wait. Haircuts could wait. Everything could wait. Jason's mother, Carol, began visiting around that time. At most, a few days, Jason would say. But a few days turned into a week, then another. She didn't ask, she simply settled in, as if the apartment expanded whenever she arrived. And every time something felt uncomfortable, I reminded myself, be patient. Patience isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up quietly, disguising itself as maturity, as love, as sacrifice. It's when you text your husband asking if he can pick up your child from daycare and he replies, "I'm exhausted today." So you grab your coat and go, in the rain, through traffic. It's standing in a store holding a sweater you instantly love, soft, flattering, finally something just for you, and then placing it back on the rack because Lily needs new shoes. It's mastering the art of smiling so no one asks questions you're too tired to answer. One afternoon, I caught my reflection in a store window and barely recognized the woman looking back. When had I started choosing invisibility? The moment that truly unsettled me came unexpectedly. I was about to book a hair appointment. Nothing dramatic, just a trim. My finger hovered over the confirmation button, and suddenly I felt nervous. Not because we couldn't afford it, but because I didn't want to hear Jason's sigh. That quiet, disappointed exhale that made me feel selfish without him ever saying the word. That was the moment I realized something inside me had grown smaller. After that, I noticed other changes. I spoke more softly, apologized more often, moved carefully through my own home like a guest trying not to disturb the host. Then came the evening that shifted everything. There was nothing remarkable about it. No shouting, no tension in the air. I was setting the table. Lily sat on the floor coloring a purple dog. Jason scrolled through his phone, half listening to the television. "Oh, by the way," he said casually, as if commenting on the weather, "Mom's going to stay with us a little longer. It's just easier for her. You're home anyway." My hands froze around the plate I was holding. "Did you talk to me about this first?" I asked carefully. He looked up, surprised, not by the situation, but by my question. Then he sighed. That sigh again. Why are you making this into something? We're a family. Just be patient. It's nothing. Nothing. The word echoed louder than it should have. And in that moment, a startling clarity washed over me. No one was asking what I thought. No one was considering how I felt. I wasn't being included. I was being accommodated around, like furniture, like background noise. I wasn't a partner. I was convenience. I was support staff. I was a service. The point of no return came only days later. Carol stood in the doorway of our bedroom, scanning it with quiet approval. "You know," she said, "my back has been hurting. Your mattress is much better than the one in the guest room. Maybe I could sleep here, just for a while." Before I could even process the request, Jason spoke. "You don't mind, do you?" he said quickly. "Just be patient a little longer." He didn't even look at me when he said it, and something inside me went completely still. No anger, no tears, just certainty. If I agreed now, there would soon be nothing left of me to agree with. That night, long after everyone had fallen asleep, I sat alone in the kitchen. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. I stared out the window into the darkness and began counting. How many times had I given up what I wanted? How many times had I swallowed words that deserved to be spoken? How many versions of myself had I quietly abandoned? A terrifying realization followed. I no longer knew what I wanted. Not what was practical, not what was expected, not what made me good. What I wanted. The question felt foreign, like trying to remember a language I once spoke fluently. Almost without thinking, I opened my laptop. My old resume was still there. 5 years old. A relic from a woman who felt fearless. I nearly closed the file. Fear rushed in immediately. What if no one needs me anymore? What if I waited too long? What if I'm not enough now? But another thought rose quietly beneath the fear. What if I still am? So I updated it, line by line, sent it out to a few companies with zero expectations. When my phone rang 2 days later, I assumed it was spam. When they invited me for an interview, my hands trembled so hard I had to sit down. Jason didn't share my excitement. "Why do you need this?" he asked. "You're already at home. Why complicate our lives?" For the first time in years, I didn't rush to reassure him. Instead, I looked straight at him. "And me?" I asked quietly. "Who am I in this house?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. No answer came. Getting the job didn't magically fix everything. There were arguments, long, heavy silences, hurt lingering in the corners of our conversations. "You've changed," Jason told me one night, and for once, the accusation didn't sting. "Yes," I said calmly, "I have. Because I no longer accept just a little patience. I finally understand something no one tells you. A life doesn't disappear all at once. It fades in tiny negotiations, small compromises, harmless delays. Later, not now. Be patient. Until one day, you look around and realize you are missing from your own life. Sometimes I'm still scared. Sometimes the old instinct returns, the urge to make things easier, smoother, more comfortable for everyone else. But every morning I look in the mirror and see a woman who refuses to vanish again. A woman who remembers that her comfort matters too. And if anyone ever asks me to just be patient again, I already know how that story ends. This time, I choose myself.